My name is Justus Njeru from Microsoft in the Private Sector Development Department. And I'm here with my colleague
Victor Musyoka, Risk and Fraud Manager at Microsoft.
Today we are going to be looking at what are the challenges in financing Agri-SMEs in East Africa. Because in East Africa we all understand that East Africa has been termed as one of the fastest growing blocks in the world. Agriculture plays a key role in contributing to about 25 to 40% of the GDP of these nations, and it has been established also that for every 10 jobs created in this area, roughly 5 to 6 jobs are in agriculture, especially for the youth. Hence, it's growing the importance of focusing on this sector. In the past decade, there have been a lot of interventions towards developing smallholder farmers because they account for 80% of the production in East Africa. However, we have noted that little has been done on the supply side to develop strong market that links now the smallholder farmer with their farm production to the market. For Agri-SME, they faced many challenges, just like any other SME in the market. Since there hasn't been much of the focus in them as a sector in the agri, it has been increasingly been challenging, especially for financial services providers or the financial service providers to finance them. Recently, we are seeing a lot of investor or entrepreneurs setting up Agri-SMEs in East Africa, which are focused more on providing market or storages. However, financial service providers are shying away as they deem the sector very risky and complicated. Victor, as a lender approached by Agri-SME, what are some of the crucial things that would make you comfortable in lending to these Agri-SMEs?
Yeah. Thank you, Justus. I concur that there has been a perception that agribusiness is high risk, courtesy of volatility of key factors which include climate changes, quantity of produce, and commodity prices. So as a lender, the main thing is to have a deep or clear understanding of the agribusiness operations, which can be categorized in three main factors, which is the structure of the operations, the products, and the markets that they deal in. Now, under these three components, there are pertinent questions as a lender you need to ask to gain deeper or detailed understanding of the operations, to be able to assist make decisions on provision of credit facilities to these agribusinesses. These questions include things like getting a good understanding or getting a description of the company's business models and functions. Also being able to get a good understanding of the organization structure, including departments, their staffing requirements and needs, and also the need to recruit, courtesy of scaling of operations. Another key question to ask would be on the supply and demand of the commodities that the company deals in. That includes both their production inputs, that is the farm produce that they get from the farmers, and also questions regarding their output and provision of these products to the final consumers. You also need to get a good understanding of their target market in terms of absolute number of customers that they have so far, and projections into the future and the markets that they are focusing on. Another key question to ask would be the revenue such agribusinesses have made to date, and also the projections on the same, and also the operating costs. Given the scaling objective, there is deemed to be increased operational cost. So you need to have a good understanding of such costs and revenues. You also have to have good understanding of the history of the agricultural yield in the area, because this goes into determining the quantity of produce that the business can get from the farmers from that region. Another key aspect is to understand the agribusinesses' plan on maintaining the farmers and ensuring efficient flow of farm products. That is maybe ensuring they receive the necessary inputs, credit, extension services, and financial literacy to stay in production. Another key question that as a lender you should be able to ask is look at their competition in the industry. Have an understanding of competing entities in that industry who produce same or substitute products, and also be wary of the risk of counterfeiting. The last question that you need to ask as a lender is how this agribusiness plans to manage the risk of reduced produce due to the adverse climatic conditions, especially in the East African market, or the entry of a fierce competitor.
We have also mentioned things to do with some risks, and I would like us to delve deeper into the risk part of it, and just to understand more. As a startup Agri-SME, what are some of the risks that they will face in East Africa if you're setting up an Agri-SME?
When starting an Agri-SME, some of the challenges that agribusinesses may face include inadequate capital or unavailability of credit expansion. As we've seen earlier, if financial institutions shy away from financing or providing credit facilities to the agribusinesses, and this is a challenge for agribusinesses looking to expand their operations. Another challenge is increased operational cost due to the need to improve or increase their capacity for cold storage, increased labor input, and transportation of finished commodities to urban centers, which cater for their final consumers. Another major challenge is volatility of climatic conditions. This is due to the unpredictability of weather in East Africa, coupled with seasonality of the crops. The next challenge we have is supply chain management skills. Now, such agribusinesses need to be able to govern the whole process from acquisition of farm products from the farmers to the point where these goods or final farm products go to the market and are consumed by the final consumer. And all this requires increased capital. Another challenge is the seasonality of the agricultural products, and also poor transport network, which limits access to some of the farm areas which are located in the rural areas. The final challenge that we have is the farmer fragmentation or producer fragmentation, which leads to increased operational costs due to the different locations where the farmers are located, and the agribusinesses having to incur costs in their strive to collect all this produce together. All this increase the operational risk of these agribusinesses and provide a major challenge for agribusiness startups in implementing their operations.
Thank you, Victor, for joining us today, for shedding light on the challenges Agri-SMEs are facing in accessing finance in East Africa.
Thank you for having me, Justice.
And dear listeners, thank you for tuning in. Join us in our next conversation that will be focusing on risk Agri-SMEs face in achieving scale and profitability in the region.